listening to Inside Real Estate, your source for all things mortgage and real estate related. The show that brings you all the hottest topics and insights directly from those who know it most. Now sit back and enjoy the show.
Sit back
and enjoy.
Have a beer. Enjoy the smooth sounds of Paula Pastelakis, Salvatore Kuzmano, and Brad Weisgerber. How's everybody doing today?
I don't have this.
Pretty
smooth.
good. That's a new voice.
Yeah, it's different.
Sweaty balls.
What?
Jessica, how you doing today?
Fantastic. And
Awesome.
you?
Good. We're a little discombobulated today. So we've got a really cool guest that reached out to us from Los Angeles. He is a real estate agent out in the Hollywood area, and he has this company called CREM Group. He's an interesting character because he actually, it's interesting to get a perspective on the other coast, right? I think that's kind of cool. The other side of it is
the other coast? Like we're on a coast?
we've got lots of coast, bro.
But we're not on a coast.
True. We have a lot of coastline. Anyways, so he reached out to us. Time difference kind of thing. So he's calling in a few minutes at 11:30 our time. And the cool thing about this guy is, Sal, he's kind of like a jack of all trades. He's a real estate attorney. He also he's a CPA, and he does real. So he's kind of like he has the ability to kind of navigate a lot of things. He's gonna be talking about he want to talk about probate and trust sales. That'll be interesting, right?
Yeah.
It'll be a different
niche,
perspective.
right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's lots of things to do in the business. So
We always talk about this. There's a lot of different angles in this business, right? So before he comes on, I did want to talk about the market what I'm seeing is right now where we're at, Sal, and it's heating up, dude. Right? Houses are kind of flying off the market right now, especially in our local area, but I'm sure it's across the country right now. Rates are really low, and it's interesting because it's like how long can this last, bro?
I mean, it's an inventory issue, right? So it will last until, everyone buys a house, I suppose. I mean, which is impossible. So it's just kind of the way it is. I feel like it's the new norm. And, typically over the winter, it slows down. It did not slow down this past winter. It was just easier.
There was a moment before Thanksgiving it died a little bit.
I don't even think it slowed down. It's just, the people who couldn't buy before now had an opportunity to.
Yeah.
Right? The people who don't have the luxury of waiting, right?
Yeah.
They had to make a move.
Yeah, so it's an interesting market. Again, the rates kind of just pouring fuel on the fire, it just we keep talking about kind of the same thing, and I feel just okay. My initial gut, I'm not the sky falling kind of guy, right? I've always been like, you're an idiot. You should buy. You should buy. You should buy. I think if you've got a bunch of investment properties right now, personally, let's say you have 5 or 6 investment properties, there is an argument right now to say, sell your investment properties, get cash liquid, and then wait for something to happen where the market kind of shifts and buy up a whole bunch of properties. What? Why are you shaking your head? You just breathed heavy, shook your head, and then you have nothing to say?
No, I don't. I got nothing.
Sal, what do you think?
I mean, I guess it just depends on what you want to do. I mean, there's an argument for everything. There's an argument against doing that. There's an argument for doing it. It depends on your goals, your personal portfolio, how long you want to hold on to something, right? Because buying up rental properties is a long-term play.
I just think for the first time there's an argument for the other side, more so than anything. Like there's more evidence right now that potentially you might want to hoard some cash right now so that when things kind of turn around, you're more liquid so you can do more stuff.
Yeah,
right?
I was gonna say I think the housing market is definitely a safer bet right now than the stock market because the stock market is inflated. It's going to crash and people are going to lose a lot of money. So I think
you think it's going to crash for sure.
Maybe not crash, but it's going to correct and it's going to drop. Right? With the tax cuts, all these companies did corporate stock buybacks and it's artificially inflated.
Yeah.
So it's going to come down. And if you're dumping a bunch of money into the stock market thinking you're making a bunch of money, no, you don't buy when it's high.
Yeah.
Right? So I think real estate is definitely a good place to put your money right now.
Yeah, for sure. I generally I feel usually like a really good outlook and I have a good understanding of what's coming. I've been wrong. Obviously, I thought rates would be a lot higher than what they are right now. For sure, I don't think anybody thought rates would be where they're at.
Well, when you speculate, you don't know.
You don't know,
right?
Yeah.
So
yeah. You get your best guess is
I
best
think
guess.
the only thing that could be said about real estate is it's tangible, right? If you have your stock invested in a company that, again, right, they're buying stock back, earnings, corruption, whatever, your investment could be gone.
Right. No,
So-
dude, it's pretty wild, man. It's funny. So my buddy Mooch out in California called
Not
me.
the mooch.
He's not the Mooch. His name's actually Stace Gressel. He actually works for Wells Fargo out there. Listens to our show all the time. Last week, he listened to our last show, Sal, and he said that he definitely believes you're the smartest man on our team.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if that's true. I wouldn't know if it's true.
I think we should have
but-
him on the show. I think he has a good perspective.
Yeah.
The guy's pipeline is $76 million because he's in the Bay Area. That's a lot of. That's a lot
big
of
pipeline.
Thank you. I'm sure he feels good
Well,
about
it's
it.
probably 30 to 80 loans, depending on.
Well, the loan sizes are
Yeah,
ridiculous.
if
dude.
he's in
Yeah.
California.
Yeah. And they can do some crazy stuff. So I think it'd be interesting to have him on the show to kind of talk to him, kind of what his world's like out there, right? Which is another reason why this will be an interesting conversation today with our guest. It's like, we know our market, we know what's happening in the United States as far as the market, interest rates, and all that. But everything's hyper local,
Yep.
right? So it's like our world. If let's say we picked up and went to Cali, it would be very, very different world. I mean, their title is different. There's different
Well,
rules.
what's
I'd have to work
interesting-
out if we went to
What's
Cal.
interesting is that it's hyper local when it comes to the market as far as real estate goes, right? But the mortgage market is nationwide.
Yeah.
When rates drop in Michigan, they drop in California. There might be some adjustments and margins are smaller over there, right?
Right.
Mhm.
So,
because the loan sizes are so much
Right.
bigger, yeah.
but it's all relative, I guess.
It's the same, but it's different. You know what I mean? That's all it is. There's like little nuances that are different. Like I've done loans in all 50 states. I
Right.
think.
But when Fannie Mae makes a rule, they make a rule.
To make
Yeah.
a rule, right.
And that's what's kind of crazy is that it affects everyone. So whether you're an investor in California or you're just a first-time home buyer in Michigan, those rules or those things, like for example, DU tightening up their algorithm, right? Like,
Yeah, let's talk about that. I think that's interesting what's happening right now. So there's two for conventional mortgages. You've got Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. They're conventional. They're QM deals, right? They go through them. They have to insure them. We have to follow their guidelines and we have to meet them. And when we put a deal in the system, we push a button. We put everything in. We put all the 1003, all the information in, and we push a button and it says approved eligible or go F yourself, right? And there's in betweens. But my point is, the deals that we had that were going approved at like 700 credit with 5% down, with 45%, they're not going approved anymore. So I was talking to someone yesterday. I was actually talking to Scott on our team. It kind of feels like because we got a deal yesterday. The guy had 679 credit, but he was putting 20% down, and his DTI was over 45 and went approved eligible. And what that told me personally is that potentially Fannie Mae wants a lot more equity because they're kind of betting against the market right now.
Yep.
That's kind of what it feels like, right?
yeah, I mean, they could be hedging their risk, right?
Right. They
But-
want more equity all of a sudden.
Because again, everyone's speculating, right? And there's a lot of people speculating that the market's going to continue to go up, and then others are like, I mean, there's an elephant in the room that we all know.
Yeah.
Eventually, it will stomp on one of these, whether it's jobs, stocks.
Yeah. I mean, there's some pretty smart people that work at Fannie, and I think you're right. I think they are hedging. I think they want more equity. They want you to have more skin in the game because they see what's coming, right?
That's what I'm
there's some
saying.
pretty big economists
So-
that work
so-
there. They
so-
know that something's going to happen, that people are going to lose jobs, money's going to be tight, and they don't want to have the same foreclosure rates, so they want more skin in the game.
Which
It's like a
is-
leading indicator, in my opinion, a little bit.
Well, and
right?
there's a ton of people who just bought with minimum down. Even
Yeah.
people who had the money to put down. Why would you? Rates are low,
yeah,
right?
Yeah,
money's
Invest
cheap.
elsewhere.
leverage your money, right?
Right.
Why 4.25? If I was going to put, I always say this: if you're independently wealthy, put a lot of money down. That's no difference, right? But if you don't have a ton of money, why suck yourself dry? We've talked about this all the time. When you can put that money somewhere else and invest it and get more money and return on your money. Now, Barry Habib said something interesting in a thing that he did. He said that your house is one of the best savings plans you can have by paying down your principal and putting money into it. I don't 100% agree with Barry's super smart, so I'm sure he has some really good arguments about it. But I just feel like once your money's in your equity, it's gone. You can't touch it until you unless you want to, if you want a savings plan, yeah, you can do it, but money's
Well,
gone.
it could be, right? I mean, there's no quicker appreciating asset likely than your house,
No,
right? You
yeah,
could buy a
absolutely.
house like 3-4 years ago. People who bought a house, put minimum down, and they're walking away with 150 grand, right?
Right.
Who
Yep.
make 40 grand a year. Like that's huge. That was their best investment ever, right?
100%.
But a guy like me who just bought a house, I put minimum down,
Yeah.
right? It's like I'm underwater if I want to sell it right now. Well,
Right.
I might break even, right?
Yeah, after fees and everything, yeah, you might.
But if I look at my original down payment, I mean, I guess I'm underwater, right?
yeah, oh
Yeah.
yeah. And
I'm not
too.
going to get that plus be able to pay 6% commissions plus transfer taxes plus
Right.
owner's title of policy. I mean, yeah, I'd break even.
Yep.
Where I'm at right now, and that's if it sells. That's if it appraises. You know, I mean, I had a deal that someone bought, and I guess it depends on where, right? Like Royal Oak, there's a ton of comps, right? But these new builds, we're doing refinances, right? Rates have dropped. We can save you some money. Their appraisal came in $18,000 less than what they bought it for, a brand new build.
Yesterday,
right?
yeah, this happened yesterday.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I was like, what? You know, but I
new
guess
construction too, bro. Right? It was a new construction,
yeah, it was a new construction
when they
but,
bought it. Yeah.
You know, I guess the
which is rare. New construction usually move in, you have equity pretty quickly, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's ultimately like, and they have the equity. They put 20% down, but, and we're gonna figure out the refi because such a large loan amount. You know, it's like, okay, you know, we'll lower your loan $1,000 to make it work, but it's kind of crazy. And I'm like, well, there's no other comps. You know, that's what they're saying is there's
Right.
no other comps. I'm like, sure, but these houses aren't the same. You know, I mean, it's just crazy that you can, you know, affect someone's mortgage, their ability to save money by saying, well, this is the only comp, right?
Yeah.
Why don't you? It's almost like, how can you not use a house that sold in August as a comp? The same house, right? It's almost like, why could you use on a recently bought property that same property as a comp? Because
Yeah.
if it was the other way around and that only other comp, it would appraise higher because our sale was a comp.
Dude, we can get into appraisals all day. Look,
Yeah.
appraisals are just like you know, they are what they are, and you just got to roll with it. But like, what I'm looking for is like leading indicators of what's happening in the market. This is so opposite of what I've been saying for so long, but I'm starting to feel, and this is just my feeling, and I could be totally off, that people are starting to get fat and happy and complacent again. Right? They're feeling really safe. They're spending a ton of money. Debt's up. You know, I don't know. It just feels like I'll give you an example. A company just came out with a Nina loan. Nina,
What?
no income, no asset. Here, and then we're like, oh, okay. So I forget what the company. It was on these guys I listen to. But anyways, so they're like, okay, well, maybe the LTV restriction and then the DTI restrictions are really strong because there's a place for Ninas in certain scenarios if you protect
There's
it.
no place for Nina.
Down to 620 credit, 20% equity.
Whoa.
We can do Ninas at 620 credit with 20%. Dude, that is not good.
That's not good at all.
That's, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's bad.
Like, so like this is the kind of stuff that I'm starting to see happening where people are like doing stupid shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Speaking of stupid shit, I just decided now, we were talking about Barry Habib and your savings account is your house. I pay down my principal every month, and I just decided when I'm 60, 65, I'm going to take cash out, $200K, and it's my fuck you money, and I'm just going to go have some fun and live it up, never pay that bitch back.
You're going to foreclose?
No, I'm going to die, dude. I'm gonna be old as shit. But I'm going to have some fun.
Wait, how long is this going to take for you to do? Because I don't think you're going to make it to this end point of yours.
Yeah, it's 30 years, man. It's gonna be 60.
I mean, you might not want to be putting your money away. You spend it now, bro.
You'll definitely cough too hard one day and rip like a hole in your lung. But
Brad does this thing where he's coughing incessantly. I don't know what's wrong with him, and I think literally his liver's going to come out of his throat.
yeah,
That's what it
it's
sounds
tough
like.
stuff. But I think we can all speculate as to why that's going to happen. But
Yeah, there's a lot.
I'm probably right behind you. I think that, you know, it's probably not a bad idea, right? Cash out. But what are the chances that you keep the house forever? You're 30, right?
I don't see
Your kids grow up, they leave, right?
Oh, true. Yeah.
You know, you got this
Yeah.
big house, you got a pool.
You won't be there.
You want to leave.
Yeah, you'll downsize.
Might as well sell and rent.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, so
Right.
your plan just got
Keep the money in the
blown
bank,
up,
go have
dude.
fun, rent it.
I don't know. I like my house a lot, though.
You do, but 30. I like my wife a lot. But
Man.
I'm kidding. No, I'm just joking. But I'm just saying, over time, like you eat the same, bowl of spaghetti. For
I'm
the rest of-
already looking to get out of my house. I just can't get a mortgage.
Yeah, my house is not my forever house. I love my house. I absolutely love my house, but I
Well,
want
you're going to downsize, dude. I mean,
I want to get a sweet.
Quit bursting my
sprawling
bubble,
ranch.
fuckers.
Anyways,
yeah, a ranch or a condo or something
yeah,
like
I want
that.
something sick. Like I don't know.
I like
sell my
condo
house
living.
and
I
buy
don't
an
like
RV.
cutting the lawn.
Live in a
You
van
like
down
cutting
by
the
the
lawn?
river.
No, I said I don't like,
I love cutting the lawn. I just
I
can't.
I don't cut my lawn. Neither
I don't
do you.
have time.
I pay someone to cut my lawn.
right, but it'd be nice to have a condo.
I had a condo. It is nice. If you don't have kids, it's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
You've been to you saw my place. It was a nice little
I
condo.
can't share walls.
Easy living.
I didn't care.
The only thing I
yeah,
like
do that.
is being able to, like when you have a house, you can pull your car in the driveway,
Right.
wash it, right?
Do what the fuck you want.
Right. But I guess I'm different. Most people just run it through a wash.
No.
So, anyways,
So this dude's gonna be on pretty soon. So I kind of wanted to like preface we get reached out to a lot lately for people to be on our show. It's interesting. This dumb show that we have, people want to be on it. I don't understand. It's we're just a bunch of idiots that do this thing. But like this dude, good looking dude, started this group out there. I mean,
odd thing to say.
but I feel like people in California, like if it was sunny here all the time and people were like, you would be in better shape.
I'd have to work out.
Yeah,
for sure.
bro. Like you have no choice, right? But here we can wear a garbage bag for 8 months out of the year and nobody can see anything.
Look at me,
right?
It's great.
That's why Michigan Aid, like we're not known as the sexy people, dude.
The dad bod is strong here.
You have, I don't know if you have a dad bod. You have more of like if
I have
people
a
haven't seen,
dad bod.
if people, is anybody out there that's seen Wreck-It Ralph? That's exactly what Brad looks like. His feet are just as big, by the way.
Wreck-It Ralph.
Yeah, you haven't seen Wreck-It Ralph?
You know, correlation to Motorcycle Ralph.
No, totally
hell
different.
is that?
Totally different.
That's a sweet movie.
No, it's a cartoon, man.
All right.
Yeah. So this guy's going to call in, and he's going to talk to us about probate, and he's going to talk to us about a few other things. I'm more interested to know, in his market, what are the challenges that he has in his market, right? How it's probably super fucking competitive out there.
No, yeah.
He's probably got the same challenges we have.
When I had California,
Everybody's got their own.
Broker accounts, I mean, they were doing lowering their comp plans half of what they are in Michigan. Granted, the loan size is probably on average twice the amount, right? But it's like, it's crazy. People refining for 1/8 of a point.
So the audience understands, as a mortgage company, you set your comp per the area that you're in, and the reason that the margin of profit out in California is lower than, let's say, in Michigan or Montana, wherever it is the loan sizes are so much bigger. It's so much more competitive. You can do a $700,000 deal and make off 1 point $7,000 and cover everything.
I guess we can't blanket California, right? I mean, there's a lot of areas in California that are just like an area here, right, where the average loan size is probably $150,000.
Where? Not near the coast. I mean, all the way up
Northern California.
I don't know, bro.
Not northern, but like
I'm sure out in the sticks, even the valley's expensive. I mean, I don't know.
Fresno area, kind of.
I was licensed in California. I've done a ton of loans in California my whole career, and I always was blown away by these little houses that looked like shacks that were like $1 million.
$750,000. Yeah.
They're nice inside.
Yeah, they're nice inside. They're like mini houses though.
But you also get the amenities of perfect weather almost every day, and beach and mountains and forests, and
a lot of people are
anything
moving
you
away.
want to do.
A lot of people are moving out of California. I was just in Colorado visiting my buddy, and he told me there's a ton of California transplants going over there. And by the way, you want to talk about booming economy? Colorado, Denver is apps. I mean, there's cranes everywhere. The place is super clean. It's a cool city, and it is blowing up. So that market is. I mean, there's some really good markets out there. Where people are like really doing well. It's nice to see that the economy is doing. I'm just so like all of a sudden I'm like fearful like where the floor is going to fall out.
Well, and I guess it depends. Like if you look at an area like Houston, right? It was blowing up, going crazy, going nuts, and then there was that whole thing with oil, right? A couple of years ago where the price of oil went like super low,
right?
And like that like crushed the industry out there for a little bit.
Yeah.
So. It's kind of like here, we got the auto industry, right?
Yeah.
And in San Fran, you got the tech industry, but that hasn't completely imploded or anything like that. So
it has. No, I mean, the amount of money that there is out there is pretty wild.
Yeah.
And I just talked to my buddy in the Bay Area, and I know we went over this, but like, he just had a kid. Him and his beautiful, they're awesome, right? Just had a kid, and he's like, dude, I can't find anything less than 1.5 million, right? That's all. I mean, and he's like, it's nothing.
Well, from a payment perspective, I think it's one thing, right? Like you make good money, you can afford it, right? But the down payment, like think of what you have to save up. You know, a high balance loan, you put down what I think they changed it to 5% down, but I think it was like 10% for a long time, and. You know, that's like 65, 70 grand, and a first-time buyer, that's all you can find, right?
Yeah.
You make good money, but the cost of living and everything, it's just like here, right? I mean, it's hard to save money with everything that's out there, the cost of food, the cost of cars.
Yeah. So I'm going to call this guy Mark right now, and we're going to try to get him on the phone. Let's see if this works. Oh, there it is. It is working. Wow, that's rare. Usually it's all fucked up.
Hello?
Mark, what's up, man? You are on the show. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good, man. So we are streaming live on Facebook too, just so you know. So you can swear as much as you want.
Okay.
So I've got myself, Salvatore Guzmano, and Brad Weisgerber. Really thankful that you're on the show, man. We really appreciate you reaching out and wanting to be on it. I think you give us another opportunity to have a different perspective in the market, which is awesome, man. So real quick, just in your words, I know that you're eclectic, man. You are a CPA, you are a real estate attorney, and also you do real estate, which is, I think, an interesting combo for your clients.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I am definitely a real estate broker first. The super majority of what I do is real estate brokerage. Those were my former, practices. And sometimes they do come into play for, the clients that I'm representing. But just to give you a little bit of context on that.
Yeah. So I'm curious. So it's an interesting part of who you are. Why the transition? Because obviously those two fields that, a lot of CPAs do really well. They're happy. A lot of real estate attorneys do really well, and they're happy. What made you transition into the actual broker side?
Well, so I started out as a CPA at auditing real estate companies. So I was again, there was a large focus on real estate. And then when I went to law school, I was studying tax and real estate law, and then doing real estate transactional law. So like, again, I was always kind of straddling the line of real estate. And I think it's just to be honest, a better quality of life, in my opinion. And I just really enjoy doing this side of the business.
Yeah, quality of life is big, man. And I think that's a lot of reasons why we do what we do and a lot of agents do what they do is because it's hard. I think a lot of people think that like quality of life all means you get to like fuck off or like, all day, right? But no, you actually have to like grind, right? It just means that you get to grind at your own pace, right?
Oh, absolutely. And coming from those two professions, I mean, you work really hard. So it's just taking that and applying it, and I feel like the returns are just a lot greater given the same amount of effort that I was putting in my former profession. So for sure.
What's interesting too, on our end, right? Like, let's say someone's getting a gift, or there's something that is involved in the transaction that requires an attorney to come in. Your clients, you can tell them, right? Or you hear that often, probably. Hey, if I sell this less than 2 years, what are my tax implications?
Right.
Oh yeah, and I'm that's like one of the like most important. You're talking about Section 121.
Yeah.
One of the most important things that pieces of law. There's not many ways to sell something tax free. I'm not talking tax deferred. I'm talking
Free.
purely tax free.
Right.
And anyone that doesn't know that owns a home or owns any property or is thinking about owning, like, needs to know that, because that's just one of those like really special advantages that the IRS affords us that needs to be taken advantage of.
Yeah, you know what I like about your whole thing, and we'll get into some other things real quick, but I love the fact that what you do really is you just have a suite of value. Like you have a lot of value that you can add to your clients because you have all this knowledge. And I think that's actually rare in the marketplace. Not many people have your expertise, and I think that's got to make you stand out a little bit, right?
It does, and it's kind of led my partner Daniel Taylor and I to our niche in the real estate industry, which is probate and trust sales. So yes, I mean, given a normal, typical sale, yes, definitely, but especially in our focus area, which is probate and trust sales.
So talk to us and the audience about some of the things that you come across that I think that people might need to know if they're doing that type of sale in probate or through a trust, because they are very nuanced. There's a lot of rules, and if you don't do it correctly, you can kind of screw yourself.
I could not tell you how many times we've been doing a probate deal that is delayed, a month, 2 months because they didn't do it the right way.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. And do you want me to share some of those examples?
Yeah,
of what, like,
for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So for I guess basics, like you want to use the right contract. for probate. And there's two. I guess I should take a step back. There's two paths in probate. There's full authority, and then there's limited authority. Full authority, in a lot of ways, is more akin to a standard sale. There's less court oversight, but still there are nuances that you have to follow. Otherwise, you're gonna cause delays, like you had mentioned. And then there's limited authority on the other side, which there's very heavy court oversight. You once you get the property in escrow, you have to petition for an overbid hearing, where you go back to court, which is where you're essentially inviting any outside buyers to come and essentially bid in like an auction type form.
Really, that's interesting.
That is weird.
Yeah, and there's more nuances on the limited authority side.
Mm-hmm.
That if you haven't done it before, I would team up with someone that has, because I don't know, my biggest fear, and that's because I'm so involved in the industry, is pissing off probate attorneys. That's like the kiss of death for me.
Yeah,
so
you're fucked if they're pissed at you, dude.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Exactly. So, I mean, much less the client, right? I mean, obviously we all want to keep the clients happy, but for me, the probate and trust attorneys out there are my continuing relationship. So I definitely do not want to delay anything for them.
Yeah. Yeah. So Mike, it's an interesting situation because you're in a really like competitive spot. I mean, you talk to me about where your main areas of business, where you operate, and kind of talk to me about the market, the landscape, and how obviously being specialized in this part of the business helps you kind of navigate all that.
Well, you're first of all, you're absolutely right. I'm in Los Angeles. I'm currently in Hollywood.
Yeah. No competition there, dude. Not many realtors there.
No, I forget who I was talking to the other. Oh, I was doing an interview with Realtor Magazine on a couple days ago, and she had just interviewed someone else in Hollywood, a real estate agent. And I'm like, okay. And he was like, yeah, there's like 11,000 agents in like this like super small geographic area in Hollywood. That's like, yeah. So yes, we're in a hyper competitive.
11,000. How many sales are there in the area? Like, I mean, maybe like you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I mean, so and that's a thing. Like, if you're gonna focus on an area in LA, like if that's your thing, and I think, by the way, that's like a one of the points that I definitely wanted to make today. Like, no matter what your focus is, you need to have something that you can like really hang your hat on. You can be the guy for that, whether that's like, I don't know, condo sales, or whether it's a geographic area, or
you got to define who you are, right?
Well, and it's especially true, right, in a hyper competitive market, because what's going to differentiate you from the 10,999 other realtors, like. Yeah. But at the same time, I do think that like 80% of them, so let's say 8,800 of them are one-off. I think
part-time.
Two deals.
Aunt Tilly that does a deal here, right?
Close a deal and make 30 grand.
And I guess on the same topic, I'm pretty sure one in like 4 or 5 people in California is a licensed realtor.
That's so crazy.
That's nuts.
Like, what the hell?
Yeah, dude. Yeah, you chose to do that. Okay. So that's interesting, dude. I mean, because we talk about specific markets and and we also talk about how to succeed, because a lot of agents listen to our show too. So I guess for me, it'd be interesting to hear from you. What is it that you believe, other than obviously being specialized, because I'm sure there's other people that specialize in what you do, right? You still kind of have to set yourself apart branding-wise. How do you get your name out there so people know that you are the people to do this, that you specialize in this stuff?
Well, talking to you guys is one way.
Yeah. Well, you're gonna get 4 new people to hear you.
Yeah. I mean, so okay. So this is a loaded question, but I think one thing that I like to do is I like to get and contribute as much content to the world as possible.
Yes, free content. That's smart, dude.
Yes. So I would say I started with helpareporter.com. I subscribed to that website, and I get emails 3 times a day with different topics on real estate, and I'll try and write one topic a day.
Oh, that's awesome,
and
dude.
It takes me like I don't spend more than 30 minutes on it. I mean, I do a couple paragraphs. And I probably get, I don't even know, maybe 1 out of 4 picked up, but
your name's getting out there. You're working to get your name out there every angle, right?
For sure. And that's just, that's one way. I've actually evolved from doing it all myself to hiring a public relations company, which I think are the people that reached out to you guys.
Yep.
It's, I'm not, when I interviewed different ones, there was like some ungodly amounts of monthly, like, dollars that I would have to subscribe to that. I didn't choose one of those firms. I chose a boutique firm. One, because I'm partial to boutique firms, because I'm a boutique firm.
All day, dude. All day. We're the same way, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So, and they're helping me, helping bring people like us together, so I can do these things, and I don't have to be spending my time, doing that from day to day. And this is still like I just want to make to all the listeners, like this is a new thing for me. I haven't been doing this for years and years and years, like especially the PR stuff. I mean, I think we're like 6 or 7 months into hiring the PR firm, and then 6 months I was doing it on my own. So it's like,
it's a different game. And if you're not creating content and putting your name out there and trying to, just doing everything you can to shed light on what you are, who you are, because people want to work with humans, right? I think that's the most important thing. And I don't think that changes across the country. And I don't think people utilize it at a high level or making it, because it's hard to be consistent at it. Like, right, it's hard for you to get up right now and do this call with us on the East Coast while you're on the West Coast. You got to schedule it. You got to make time for it. All that stuff's hard. So kudos to you for doing that, man. And I do appreciate you, obviously your team reaching out to us and you doing the show. But for us, it's good, right? We get to have a conversation with someone that knows their shit out on the West Coast. So talk to me. So let's talk more about your business, man, because I do want to make sure we highlight it, right?
Let me just add one more thing. You meant getting up early on the West Coast. So my 1.5-year-old was up sick most of last night. So my wife called me right before this call, and she was like, how are you doing? I'm like, I am semi, zombie state right now. I'm gonna jam a coffee. I'm gonna give these guys something good. Dude,
bro, you're speaking to the choir. I got a 2 and a 3-year-old, and it's shitty. So I love them. I love my kids, but they control my life sometimes. So, and Brad has got kids, and Sal just has girlfriends.
No kids. Yeah.
Nice.
Not girlfriend.
Singular.
Sorry about that, Lindsay.
Come on, bro.
So awesome, man. So probate and trust. I mean, obviously, it's not like sexy, right? So I want to know what I actually.
I say that all the time, by the way.
It's not a sexy thing, but it works, right? So tell me about one of the worst situations that you've been in, and like what caused it, and kind of give me a nightmare scenario and what you do.
Well, why don't we talk about what probate and trust is first?
You want? Okay,
sure.
Yeah. Let him explain.
A lot of people don't even understand it.
Yeah, true. Good point.
Sure. Oh yeah, absolutely. So probate is just it's a court overseen process where someone passes away, they don't have a trust, their estate is of a certain size, it has to go through probate in order to transfer the estate, the property in the estate, to the heirs or beneficiaries of the decedent. It has to go through probate. If you have a trust, you bypass probate. You just follow the instructions that are written on the trust. Everyone should have a trust. Probate sucks.
Yeah,
probate sucks.
It basically is a judge deciding who rightfully is going to get ownership of the estate.
It's dictated by statute. If there's no will, if there is a will, there's instructions, but they still have to go through probate, which sucks. It's like, and by the way, average probate time frame is a year.
Yeah.
So you're drudging through this, and doing one assignment after the other, dictated by the court for a year, and it's I don't know. No one everyone should get a trust. I don't care.
And
I don't think
how
many
old
people even
you
know.
are.
Yeah, everybody should. I don't. I realized that pretty early. That you
and
need to have one.
95% of people probably don't have trust.
They don't, dude. They don't.
No, they don't. I mean, and even like very sophisticated people do not have trust.
Yeah.
So, anyways,
it happens all the time.
I don't want to. Yeah. So that's what. So when one of these estates is going through probate, and the administrator or executor, this means the same thing. The person that's like handling the trust, that's handling the probate, that's not the attorney. So like, I don't know, the son or daughter or granddaughter, whoever steps up to the plate, says, okay, I'll take everything through probate. And so if they decide they want to sell the real estate in the estate during the probate period, because again, it's typically a year process or more. There's a certain set of criteria that you have to follow to do that. And so, that's what we've made our focus in specializing in that. And that's what we do. So that's probate, and that's probate sales.
Got it.
Trust sales are a lot easier. Trust sales, essentially the same thing, but there's a lot more.
Well, it's outlined, right?
It's outlined, yes, and it's outlined who has the power. There's no year period. I mean, it's a lot more straightforward. And to be honest, from a realtor's perspective, it's a lot better to get a trust sale because probate's public information. So typically, at least in Southern California, there's not many. We talked about 11,000 realtors in Hollywood. Well, there's not a ton of people that specialize in probate and trust, but there are some. So there is competition. When something gets filed in probate and that
everybody
person
wants
owns
it.
real estate, yeah, everyone's going after it. But
Right.
When someone passes away and has a trust, it's not necessarily public information. So that's where we're talking about how we source deals. Well, that's where the attorney relationships come into play, where someone passes away with a trust, and it's usually the attorney referring the client, hey, I know someone that specializes in trust sales. Let me connect you. And it's it's a little bit easier of a process to solidify the relationship with the client.
Yeah, it's not too far off from what we do, man. It's all about your network and having good referral partners and taking care of your referral partners.
Right.
I mean,
well, the difference is someone coming to you that's not pre-approved versus someone coming to you whose father passed away.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So what is like one piece of advice that you think you could give people other than obviously have a trust? I guess actually no. Let me rephrase this question. What is, in your opinion, the most challenging part of what you do?
I think it's building the relationships with probate and trust attorneys, and also successor trustee or fiduciary. So basically, it's not only attorneys that are handling these things. There's also these other positions out there that are designated that like oversee a trust. So whoever they are, it's developing those relationships, getting them to gain trust in you. It's very, very hard. It takes a very long time to develop those relationships.
Yeah, man, Mark. I mean, we're a mortgage company, so it's the same thing. Like we have to develop relationships with real estate agents, and it takes so long. Sometimes you don't work with someone for a year and a half or 2 years.
I can imagine on that end, right? Like,
well, yeah, and attorneys are not the easiest people to talk to.
Yeah, I mean, some realtors,
and they're
some
not
of them
the
are.
easiest people to get a hold of.
Right.
I mean,
they
all have gatekeepers, right?
Yeah, they don't answer the phone.
They all have gatekeepers. They've all been called by realtors. They hear the name realtor.
Oh, dude, you're done.
You're lucky if you don't get hung up on, So
what do you do to get past that? What's your strategy?
So okay, my strategy. So which I'm showing some cards here. I work cold calling these executors and administrators. So through probate, public information, I get the information from the court and I call them cold. I work to convert those relationships to get clients, and this is definitely the hard way, the more labor intensive way for me to get clients. But once I get them, and I see who and the listing agreement is signed, and I see who the attorney is, now I have a reason to call that attorney.
Yeah.
And I'm going to get through the gatekeeper, and I'm
Right.
going to have conversation with the attorney, and because I'm going to, hey, your client has in the X estate, has hired me. I just wanted to let you know I'm here to do a great job for them in this fashion, and I'm going to be in touch and give you periodic updates. And,
It's so weird. It's Sal. It's almost like us. Like when we have a buyer's agent, and then we have they buy a house,
or we have a buyer who, hey, do you have a real estate agent? Yeah, and we don't know who it is, right? But
you have an opportunity.
You're forced to work
yeah.
with me, but I'm going to show you what I can do.
Well, even
right?
even the listing agent, a lot of times, a lot of business we got was just impressing the listing agent, right? Like I'm gonna blow your socks off, right? I'm gonna do a really good job.
You were
Well,
going to
it's
say
just
something
like
else.
you said, kind of the over communication, letting them know what to expect when you're
Right.
going to touch base with them. I mean, everything's communication, right? But like you said, you got to get past the gatekeeper.
And Mark, none of that shit matters unless you do a good job. Because you can fight and get in front of the right people, but if you suck, you're not going to get the business, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I know the probate attorneys and the trust attorneys that I want to get in good with, because they're the ones that do most of the business. So, I know if I get one of their clients, I better
kill
make
it.
some magic
Yeah, you better
happen.
crush it, right? Only get
Now-
one shot to impress.
That's not the only way, but let me just touch on a few other ways that I'm currently working on that are top of mind right now. So I'm speaking. I'm sponsoring and doing a real quick Sorry, there's a car alarm.
That's all right, dude.
I was
That's
going to
all
say,
right.
are you stuck in traffic?
You stealing a car?
Hollywood Boulevard.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No, I don't.
So
Brad has ideas from the UP in Michigan.
So I'm sponsoring a Los Angeles County Bar Association continuing education event specifically for probate and trust attorneys. So there's gonna be 100 probate and trust attorneys at this 1 hour speaking engagement. Well, my company is sponsoring it, and all that really means is we're getting together with the speaker. We're taking whatever handouts he wants to have. We're putting it in our folder, with some of our materials and some tips. Even if they're not going to work with us, here are some tips that you can employ with your client or in terms of selling real estate. So and then we're gonna do like I said, a 30-minute. Or sorry, not 30-minute, 30-second kind of introduction, either before or after the speaker. And then, after the event is over, we're going to, have a chance to kind of mingle, if you will, with some of the attorneys that are there.
Yeah, you got to work the
And
room.
we're doing this on 2 different occasions. We're doing this at the downtown LA downtown Los Angeles County Bar Association event, and we're doing it in the Beverly Hills one.
Tell the audience, because I'm sure there's someone out there who'll be listening. Tell the audience when and where those are. Can anybody go to these, or are they already filled?
Anyone can go. Well, at least to the LA County one. It's June 4th at noon at the courthouse in the main courthouse in downtown Los Angeles.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
And I've gone before as a non-sponsor, and I kind of just watched to see what happens, and I met a few people. You have to be brave and go introduce yourself to people. And I did develop one good attorney relationship.
That's awesome. And that's what it is. It's like doing 100 different things and just meeting and working your way through everything. And that's kudos to you, man. So we're running short on time, bud. So I want to make sure that you get like a minute. Just kind of talk about something that's near and dear to your heart that you want the audience to hear and know about you. And then we're going to go to something called 3 questions real quick, and then we'll end the call.
So something that's near and dear to me.
Yeah, something that you want the audience to know about you, right? Like your elevator pitch, I guess, to the world.
Oh God. I mean, I guess I'm a big sports guy. I don't know. I played college football. Any
You're an athlete.
anything sports related, I'm into. Love seeing the Clippers come back and upset the Warriors the other night, 31-point deficit in the playoffs
Pretty
at
good game.
Golden State. That was awesome.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, that's like
That's awesome, dude.
Yeah.
So yeah, I really appreciate you on this. So we do this thing called 3 questions, where we ask our guests three totally random questions that I make up on the spot. The first one is always the same. What scares Mark?
What scares Mark? Failing, and more than that, being complacent, like just being super mediocre, I guess.
Yeah.
And that's very, very honest. Like that scares the hell out of me.
Yeah, that's good. If you were one animal in the animal kingdom, what would it be and why?
Maybe an eagle, because
That's a first.
Eagles are sweet.
Yeah, eagles are badass.
yeah, I mean eagles are sweet, right?
They're badass.
I'm waiting for someone to come up with like alpaca or something.
Oh,
just ridiculous.
believe me, that was the first thing. Like, what can I think of something that's witty and funny and clever? And I'm
Right.
like, I don't know.
You'd be a sloth.
I would love to be a sloth.
I do send the sloth meme whenever someone's like,
You kind of look like a sloth.
I like that. Like, hey, where's
know,
that
what was
purchase agreement? Rip them a sloth meme.
Yeah, dude. Last question. If you could have dinner with anybody in the world, who would it be and why?
I've thought about. Oh, well, okay. This is a little bit more on the fun side, but if you guys have, I'm sure, have seen Modern Family.
Yeah.
So Phil Dunphy's character Ty Burrell.
Yeah.
I would love to spend whatever day, dinner, anything with him.
I would have picked Sophia.
But I would request, please do not break character the whole time.
The whole time. You got to be accurate.
That would be great.
You have to be Phil Dunphy.
The whole time. I want to
Yes.
go out with Phil, not you.
Man.
That's awesome, man.
That's a good one.
Hey, before we let you go, Mark, again, I really appreciate you reaching out and being on the show. Tell the audience how they can get a hold of you if they have questions or whatever it may be.
So my email is Mark, M-A-R-K, at Crem Group. That's CREM Group. RE is in real estate.com. You can find me on Instagram, Mark, MARK _ Crem Group. Those are probably the 2 best, quickest ways to get a hold of me.
One last thing. How do you, dude, I was trying to say your last name, bro. Is it Cianciulli?
It's just like it's spelled.
Yeah. There's 13 vowels in a row, bro.
Actually, that was really good. Yeah, it's Cianciulli.
Cianciulli. Okay, I was close.
That is not how it's spelled.
My
at
last
all.
name, bro. My last name is Apostolakis. My first name is Polychronis. So, I'm Greek as shit. So I know the feeling. So,
I've heard it spelled correctly twice in my life, like first time.
yeah,
Someone.
it's pretty hard because is it a k? Anyways? So, all right, dude. Well, listen. Thank you so much for being on the show, man. Hopefully someday we get to meet up and come out to Cali and see what you're all about, dude.
Yeah, please reach out if you're ever in town.
Yeah, brother. Well, God bless. Thank you so much, man, and keep kicking ass.
Thanks, appreciate it, guys.
No problem,
Thanks, man.
Did we hang up? All right, that's good. No, he was cool, dude. That was
Yeah,
interesting, right?
no, it was good to see. I mean, like we were saying before, there's
So many different ways to make
so
money.
many. Yeah, I mean, there's a niche for everything, right?
Yeah. Our industry, with real estate, being so huge, I don't think people really realize how big real estate. I mean, it's a multi.
But what you do is usually dictated by your faucet or your lead flow, right? Like for him, he goes after the attorneys.
Yeah, that's
right?
his referral source.
I mean, there's
yeah.
probably people out there who can get referrals from some weird group, right? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know, people who dress up as clowns on the weekend, right? I'm that realtor.
Juggalos.
Who knows? Yeah,
he's a juggalo.
I'm the juggalo
I'll go
realtor.
after
But
juggalos.
honestly, that there's probably a
What
niche.
is a juggalo?
There's a niche for everything, man.
Yeah.
And honestly, there's so much money to be made, and everybody kind of like feels like they're competing against you. Ultimately, dude, just find your niche and figure it out, right?
Right.
Go find your fucking clowns.
Sure.
All right, Jessica, thank you for being here.
My pleasure.
You're here every week with us. You probabably hate us because we're just
No,
so
not
boring.
at
I think she loves us.
I do.
You think?
She hates all the other
You
shows.
think
she
comparatively
does.
speaking, we're like the best shows, these guys?
For sure.
Probably top 5 at least.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'll go.
top 5. I'll do top 5. Fuck it. So thank you everyone for listening. Please obviously reach out to us. We appreciate everybody really just giving us all the love and support. Go to irepodcast.com, Podcast Detroit.
info@irepodcast.com with any feedback or suggestions.
info@irepodcast.com.
Yeah.
Email us. We get a lot.
Not me-mail us. Email us.
Did I say me-mail?
Yeah, you said me-mail.
You do look like a sloth.
God, I hate you so much.
You do kind of like look at his
Play
eyes.
the outro.
Look at his eyes, man.
Good night.
You've been listening to Inside Real Estate, the nation's top real estate podcast.